Hey guys, what's up and welcome to a new Tesla update video. So today, as per usual, let's go over Tesla, let's go over the market, and let's figure out what is happening and what we can expect moving forward. So with that being said and done, if you enjoyed, don't forget to hit that like button. This is not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. And of course, my membership section is live. That link is down below in the description of the video. It's a YouTube membership, of course. $3 a month. You can access all my day thoughts, post updates, technical analysis, options flow on Tesla, sometimes other stocks as well. So if you're interested, definitely go ahead and check that out. But with that being said and done, let's jump into a Tesla closing in just about a minute here. Looks like we'll be closing around a 4% decrease on the day, which is a pretty sizable decrease. But the market is pretty weak today, especially tech, right? QQ down about 1.4% as well. So Tesla, slight underperformance, but a pretty weak market today overall. A lot of things are down. For instance, you have NVIDIA down like 7% on NVIDIA is pretty sizable, right? So pretty weak day, but it's not too surprising considering we are going into FOMC tomorrow. So that's a little bit, nerves, if you will, coming in for that as well. So yeah, let's see how it goes, but let's talk about it. Let's, figure out what we can expect moving into it. So some final 10 seconds of buying and closing and selling and whatnot happening over here. We had a nice little rally on Tesla towards the end of the day, and now some profit taking towards the end of the day as we enter into FOMC. So let's see how this ends up closing out in pretty much now, actually. So there we go, done. Let's talk about it. So pretty interesting day, right? So naturally, right, this is, I don't know, I can't remember if I said it yesterday or not, but I did, buy and sell a few times yesterday, and I did ultimately exit my position, and I was going into today pretty much with no position in Tesla. I did start entering a little bit early, so I took a small loss there, and then I, of course, waited for it to come back down for this gap fill, and I re-entered pretty much on this gap fill at around 221 roughly, right? Now, what can we expect moving forward, right? So first and foremost, there's a few things that are concerning here. Now, like I said, if we do drop back below this 225-ish, range, 225, 226, 224, somewhere in that general range, pretty much this little horizontal trend, I guess, line, if you will, whatever you want to call it, that I have right here, right? This is where, you want to be careful, right? AMD should be reporting. Microsoft is falling after hours. Ooh, that's not good. That could be bad for tech. We'll see. Yeah, there's a lot of things, a few things reporting today. I think AMD is reporting soon as well. I definitely have a small position in AMD, so we'll see how that does. But yeah, so the fact that we lost that is not ideal, right? Why is it not ideal? Well, it's because it kind of ruins that bullish thesis on Tesla, right? It doesn't necessarily mean Tesla's bearish now, right? I don't think it's bearish, but I definitely don't think it's really that bullish right now, right? I think it's kind of back into neutral, right? Pretty much as long as we're within 225 and 215, to me, Tesla is kind of neutral, honestly, right? It's pretty neutral because the way I look at it is pretty simple, right? And it's a pretty simple way to look at it, right? So, if we break above 225 once again, I think that's bullish. I think at the very least we'll come up to retest this level up here at around 233 roughly. But on the bright side, if we break above 233, I also think 237 is in the cards, right? And that'll be the top of this channel, which is that bull flag. That'll be this resistance level up here at around 237. And that's going to be the area I'll be personally looking for moving into, the next range to test, if you will, if that makes sense, right? That's going to be what I'll be looking for. If, of course, we lose 215, well, then I think the next level to look down to is going to be most likely about 205 to as low as about $200 per share, right? So it's really just that simple. The fact that we're back into this little congestion zone means that Tesla's just back to being neutral. Unfortunately, on the 1 hour chart, no real indicators are signaling to me that there's really any massive bullish momentum happening on Tesla right now. What do I mean by that? Well, pretty simply put, the MACD in the 1 hour is bearish. The stochastic is RSI is neutral, honestly. Stochastic is still flip bearish, right? Definitely need some momentum here to get this back up. That's going to be something to watch for, right? We, of course, have the BX trender kind of ending the day flat on the 1 hour as well. So there's nothing really signaling to me that there's short-term momentum here on Tesla. So that's a little bit of a concerning sign. Going to the daily chart, same concept, right? You have the MACD. It's still flipped bearish, right? So that's going to be something to watch out for, right? Until this flips bullish. There's some concerning signs here, right? We have the RSI still also kind of neutral. The stochastic on the bright side is getting close to flipping bullish, so that's going to be something to look out for in the next few days. If this stochastic on the daily can start flipping bullish, that'll be really, really good, especially if we can also get a stochastic bullish flip on the 1 hour. That to me is going to be a nice little signal that, maybe Tesla is finally ready to at the very least come up to 237 roughly to test that range. But until then, there's really no, obvious bullish indicator, in my opinion, short term at least, for Tesla. And that's kind of the way I'm looking at it. BX trender is also just kind of flat to slightly lower lows, right? Nothing really signaling anything meaningful moving forward. Wow, Microsoft is down 7%. This is pretty insane. I'm actually kind of getting kind of interested here, I'll be completely honest. I do want it ideally lower personally, closer to like 370s, but I'm not gonna lie, this is getting a little more intriguing for me. Now, I have no position in Microsoft, but I'm getting interested here. Anyways, So that's kind of the main way I'm looking at it, right? Just look at those levels, look at the stochastic, right? Look for those bullish crossovers. And, you know, if you get one of those bullish crossovers, then, you know, yeah, we can start talking about a potential move upwards, right? If that's what we end up getting. But so far, we're not getting that. So far, there's a bit more work to be done on Tesla. And, you know, again, you want to wait for those levels to speak for themselves, right? Kind of like what I said, you know, if we lose this kind of 224, 225, 226, like that, $2-3 ish range, which is, you know, back here was an old resistance. Technically, ideally, we could have turned it into a new support. That would have been the ideal scenario, right? If we essentially, if I bring out the brush, right, you know, we came up here, had a resistance, came back up, broke above it, consolidated a tiny bit, came back down, turned this area back into support now, which used to be resistance, and then we move up even higher. That would have been the ideal move, right? That would have been the ideal scenario. Clearly, that's not what we're getting right now. Clearly, we came back down, came up, and actually kind of turned it back into a resistance once again. So, you know, it's kind of a neutral state right now. So again, you kind of want to wait for these levels to get cleared, right? One of these levels will get cleared. Overall, though, I do think if we clear this 225-ish range once again, I personally think we'll come up to about 237 to test that level, and then we'll see from there. And again, if we lose 215, I personally think we'll come back down to 205 to 200 and test those levels there as well. So those are pretty much the main things I'm looking at right now. But again, just looking at those indicators I just mentioned, stochastic, RSI, MACD, BX trender, nothing to me is really signaling the fact that Tesla is ready for an actual move higher just yet. So if you're someone that's risk adverse, if you're someone that's not, you know, just investing or dollar cost averaging or any like of that kind of stuff, you know, in my opinion, not financial advice, you know, it's best to just wait for these levels to decide, you know, which level does it want to break and which way does it want to go next. Otherwise, you know, you're kind of just guessing really. So that's the main way I'm personally looking at it. So let me know what you think about that down below. This video is gonna be a little bit quicker because I do want to react to some of these earnings and I want to potentially make some plays. I'm not sure yet, but I am kind of eyeballing some of these earnings plays right now because they're getting kind of interesting. But yeah, all in all, thank you so much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. A bit of a shorter but quick and concise video. Options flow is a bit of all over the place. You had a 1.1 million put right here for September 20th, which is pretty decent. 225 strike. That's a nice thing to see here. But sold put, by the way, I might add, right? That's nice to see for bulls, of course. But ultimately, you know, nothing really too crazy is really catching my eye in options flow right now. Tesla is pretty bearish today, right? About 8 million in bearish flow, but NVIDIA 26 million. So definitely some weakness in the market that is a little concerning. I'm not going to lie. So we'll see how that plays out. But all that being said and done, thank you so much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. If you enjoyed, don't forget to hit that like button. Let me try to remember, see if I'm missing anything. I think there's actually, sorry, there's one more thing I want to talk about. Let me go ahead and go to the monthly chart really quickly. So the monthly chart is this, right? One thing I want to talk about the monthly chart is this. So the monthly chart stochastic is officially crossing, which is good to see. Starbucks reported earnings. I'm curious how Starbucks is actually doing up. Actually, it doesn't even know where it wants to go. The monthly stochastic has actually flipped bullish on this month, which is a nice thing to see, right? Again, it's a monthly chart, so that means, you know, it's very lagging, right? It's not going to play out right away. It takes time for this to play out. But the fact that the monthly is about to close tomorrow and we did get this spike on elevated volume is a good sign to see. The fact that stochastic is flipping bullish on the monthly is a good sign to see. So I like to see these kind of situations happen. That's very, very good to see. Unfortunately, we have the MACD still flip bearish, but you can see it's beginning to curl up. And once we get this crossover, that could be a start of an actual true, you know, run for Tesla, potentially to all-time highs, honestly, right? Of course, that will take time. It's a monthly chart. These things take a much longer time to play out. So just because, let's say MACD crosses bullish, it doesn't mean next month we're going to all-time highs. It'll still take a few months. But the point is the fact that it shows the trend upwards is beginning to reignite itself, which is a good sign to see as well. So anyway, the fact that the stochastic has crossed bullish, in my opinion, is a good sign. We need a bit more, in my opinion, but that's a damn good start in the monthly. So the trend is, in my opinion, slowly starting to shift for Tesla in a more bullish sense. Doesn't mean that there's not going to be any, you know, short-term weakness, maybe even a couple week of weakness, right? Especially once we get closer to September, that is still a very real possibility. But it does feel like the trend is slowly shifting long-term to back to the bulls, which is always a nice thing to see. So with all that being said and done, ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you for the next one. Peace.